Hi guys. Um oh my gosh, I just said hi guys. It's so annoying. Anyways, I this is very new for me. And if you're watching, you might find that this video is a bit unusual, so I'm sorry. I like YouTube videos like anybody else. However, I am not a career content creator and I do not like to share my face or my life online. However, I felt recently that it was time for a change. So I started the channel because for many years, have wanted to. I love technology. I love learning how to use technology. I've spent the last 5 years in digital marketing. So a lot of people don't realize this. It's creative, but it also is very tech driven. And you have to be quite savvy and know how to navigate technology and fix problems and troubleshoot. I've learned how to use many different softwares over the years, so that's been very exciting. But I've always been a user and I've actually wanted to be a creator. And I've had this idea, and some people might think it's a kind of perhaps me thinking around my kind of a self actualization of myself would be have created something, a technology that people are using in their day-to-day lives that helps them. And that's always been my vision and always how I kind of thought, if I get to this in my life, I would be so happy. A dream, let's call it that. Although I don't like using the word dreams, because me and my partner, we kind of disagree about that. He's like, oh, this is our dream. And I'm like, dream sounds like a pipe dream. I don't like that word because everybody has dreams and most people don't achieve them. So let's put it as a goal, which means that it's active and we're working towards it. So I have attempted to try and do this many times with people, on my own, trying to find people. So, and it's not been very successful, largely because of the skills gap that I have in not being able to build something myself. And so I've always had to find someone, either a developer or kind of technology person or officer that I could work with, that we could build whatever idea that I had, or join somebody else's team who had an idea. And one of the things I've learned is that it's really hard to find the right sync of people. So when I say sync, I mean personality, complementary skills, like resilient to go on even in the face of conflict, because that's something that comes partly with working with people for a long time, a bit like being in a relationship for a long time. And not to digress, and by the way, guys, you'll get used to this. I do love to kind of go around the houses a little bit, but it reminds me of a conversation I was having with a friend, and they were saying that they liked they didn't believe in being too close to people and seeing them too often and spending too much time with them because it creates conflict. And it's true, it does. I think the key though is how one manages conflict and resolves conflict or moves forward, because sometimes you aren't always able to agree, but you're able to move forward. So that is, I think, the key lesson there. And that having a group of people who can do that in any facet of life, in business and in work, or in your personal life, friendship, marriage, which is probably why most of these relationships don't last for your lifetime. It's hard for people to make relationships last for a lifetime, not talk of 5 years or 10 years. It's very difficult. It's not impossible, but it's difficult. And so it's been very hard for someone like me who has ideas and wants to achieve that goal without having the skill and being able to find people who can work quite well together with. And then 2023/4 happened. Was it 4? Probably 4. Just feels like a long time because of how fast the technology has moved. ChatGPT came along. I was using it. I was like, this is good, but I'm nah. I write my own emails myself. My emails are better because I like English. I used to read a lot when I was younger. I consider myself to be quite verbose. Love vocabulary. Love words, and like writing. So I was like, I don't need ChatGPT. This is all generic. This was at the point when it was actually generic, and they just released it. Fast forward, I saw someone that's quite close to me building an application, and I was like, oh my gosh, And they're from the technology space, but they never coded. They didn't have any development background. They probably knew more than the average person about various elements of software and architecture, but they didn't have any hands-on experience building. And I saw them building something using Copilot, and I was not only amazed, I was like, what? I was stunned. And for a long time, and I was also for a long time probably was in disbelief, because I had been told that it couldn't build anything. And it, every technology, we know that there's hype, right? And then it takes time for the actual technology to catch up to the hype. So a lot of what people thought the internet could do at the time of the dot-com bubble, the internet did eventually do all those things, but it took a very long time. So I think it's a similar thing with AI, but I think because the technology is more sophisticated and it's just more superior, it probably will do things faster. But there's always still that kind of lag. And at the time, when I used it and I came out of a lot of generic responses, I was like, this is not as great as people think. Obviously, in a year is a long time in AI world, and the technology improves really quickly. Fast forward GPT-5, I saw somebody next to me, somebody I knew, building an application. Kind of like, they weren't building because they had some kind of grandiose intention to build something and become a unicorn. They were just building something that they thought was going to be useful for them in their day-to-day life. And I was stunned, but ultimately I was inspired. So I was like, that's interesting. I guess my brain was subconsciously processing it. And then all of a sudden, one day I had an idea, and we're going to talk a bit more about the idea I had and why I had this idea. And I decided, if they can do it, I can do it. I know that I don't look like the average developer. I know that I'm not white. I know that I'm not a man. I know that I'm not a white woman. I know I'm not Asian. I really didn't care, and I really don't care. I just thought I was going to do this anyway. And then I had another idea midway, which is going to blow a lot of people that I know's minds away, because this is something I said I was never going to do, because I have no interest in being in front of the camera. I have no interest being in the limelight. I love my privacy, and it's something that I didn't care about so much before, but I appreciate it. I'm open, but I'm private in so many ways, and I think that my personality type just thrives better in private. So I never wanted to do anything on YouTube or anything, despite the amount of times I've been told that I should do it. And I had an idea, and I thought, why don't I carry other people along so they see this? And I don't know if you were going to be inspired to do something of your own. I don't know if just watching the journey is interesting for you, but I think it's important for people to see that other people are taking steps, and also maybe learn from those steps, because I learned from the person that was close to me and seeing what they did. I learned not just about their mistakes, but I also had them to go to ask questions when I hit certain walls. And like anything, you are going to hit walls. That's just how it works, right? So yes, very excited to do this. For many reasons, is that as I said, the impact it can have, but also in terms of my personal journey, it's something that I'm finally being able to brave. And for the first time, I feel like this is the right time and the right reason to do it. So thank you so much, guys, for watching. In the next video, we're going to talk a bit more about what we're going to be building, what I'm going to be building, what you're going to be watching me build, and why I'm building it. So it's going to be more kind of based around the kind of what I feel is a need, different way for looking at it. And then I'm going to go into the nitty gritty of what I'm doing and watching my steps. And I'm going to record it all so everyone can learn. But yeah, thanks for watching. See you in the next video, guys.